There's a piece in my book that's called Thriving in Truth, and I wanted to share just a little bit from it. So this is mostly aimed at my experience with domestic violence, and I wanted to talk about someone's will to thrive. So being a victim for me felt stuck. Like I'm in the front row of an experience. I took that seat, and it took cultivated awareness to know that I was sitting there, that I was absorbing it, that I was getting involved, and to remind myself that I could actually walk out of that shit show. So being a survivor for me feels like I'm taking action. The past feeling in the experience, but I'm still carrying the burden of it as a survivor. So I write here, being a survivor for me feels like I'm taking action, past feeling in the experience, but I'm carrying the burden of it, so it's easy to dip in and out of victim because I am still labeling myself as the person who is surviving the abuse, toxic behavior, addictions, and whatever else may be present. In a way, I feel survivor is the learning place and a very potent place to stand firm in self-discovery. So the next phase, being thriving. So thriving for me is choosing to go past what I had suffered and the hurts that I had been left alone with. Leaving that front row seat is huge. Removing yourself is huge. So when I was there, it felt like I landed in an enormous falsity of freedom. I was out of an abusive relationship, and I thought that's all I had to do. That if I get out, that it's all done. And in reality, that's when the real work began for me. So after the false sense of freedom I created, perhaps as a coping mechanism, when that was recognized, the healing really started to begin. The impact of trauma was realized for me, which isn't an easy stage at all. It's not an easy stage to come from survivor into thriver. Thriving to me means that all I have experienced was still there. Difficult conversations, the triggers and responses to trauma. The person doing the toxic thing can still be doing the toxic thing. And if you have children like me, you may be going through transitioning, navigating different environments for the children as well. And not to mention all of that and holding it together, holding down a job. So just because you are a survivor, the road doesn't end there. You can thrive wholeheartedly within the chaos of the shitty storms that come your way by developing tools for resilience to the unwelcome guests and emotions constantly knocking, and you thrive despite them. Eventually, I realized the storm is what was consistent for me. It kept knocking me down while I played in it. So one day I changed my perspective. The storm was something so out of my control, so I thought to myself, why don't I use this time to center myself, to settle into the eye of the storm? It was a long, drawn-out nightmare. And so I decided to let it just happen around me, which led me to a mantra that I created in times when I felt my center get shaky. I would repeat, chaos is the perfect time to ground. Chaos is the perfect time to ground. And I taught myself to stay in my center. Thanks to the situation, I was given so many chances to choose chaos or calm. So I feel that practice of finding stillness within myself allowed me to find what my truth was, invite my energy back in for life, and I realized the power that was mine to reclaim, and that my life could be more peaceful, just one choice at a time.